Intentions without alignment are just pressure in disguise. Have you ever made a vision board and then gone right back to living in fear, self-doubt, second-guessing yourself, or overthinking? Well, if you've ever set an intention, big or small, and then wonder why nothing has changed, then this episode is for you. Welcome to the Pursuit of MiSELF, the podcast. Here we take ownership of our healing. We rewrite the rules, we turn knowledge into wisdom, and we lead our lives with intention. I'm your host, Rain, and it's my mission to empower you to get back into the driver's seat of your life. Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Pursuit of MiSELF. I am your host, Rain, and it has been another really big week. Holy moly. I've been going through a bit of my own dark night of the soul actually. I'm week 2 into my group program, Align and Elevate. And what we do in Align and Elevate is we go really big on setting intentions. And then I work through a whole process on how to know what your authentic words are, what your authentic essence is, so that we can really align our intentions with our soul. And what happens is I go through this process with my group every single time. And I do it 3 times a year. And every time I go through, I feel like I go through this massive, this is what I want. This is what I'm creating. Intention. And then my body just contracts and it's like, you're still on the belief systems. We still have a bit of that lack coming in. Where's that imposter syndrome coming from? Maybe we need to up-level our confidence. So I'm in a bit of that process for myself at the moment. Had a big sort of 4 days doubting, very much imposter syndrome coming in. But I really am sitting here recording feeling like, wow, I've come through that other side. And as I said last week, I know the expansion that's on the other side of the contraction. So I look forward to it. It doesn't make it any easier, but I definitely look forward to it. So if you can imagine all the different areas of your life that you're trying to up level in, and every one of those areas is going to go through, okay, we need to shed the shit there. We need to stop that belief system. We need to get that out of your life. If you really want all those big things, what are you doing still committing to being small? What are you doing still committing to being scared of showing up? What are you doing, right? So that is the contraction that I've been going through, and I feel like the expansion has come. Apart from that, kids are great. Work is really big at the moment, which I absolutely love. I really enjoy, I've said this before actually, but if I could manifest now my dream life, I'd be a full trad wife, living on a farm with cows. I think there's Ballerina Farm. I love her Instagram account, Ballerina Farm. Hannah. She's got 8 kids. They've got cows. She makes sourdough and cooks. She was a ballerina, but she exercises. I don't actually desire to be a ballerina, but they have their own protein powders and raw milks. I would still, hand on my heart, be doing my work. That's how I know how in alignment my work is. I would still be doing this work, doing this podcast, rocking up with my one-on-one clients. I would still be doing my group programs, but I'd just be doing it on a farm as a trad wife with lots of children. That is my dream. Maybe in another lifetime, maybe in this lifetime, who knows? But very much excited for what's coming up. I've got some huge things dropping for you. I won't go into them now because otherwise I might make this episode too long, but stick around. I love that you're here. I've got a really beautiful episode for you. It's my process of manifesting, setting intentions, to do it that actually works. I'm sick of this vision board and wishful thinking and law of attraction. I love it. They all have elements to it, but no one explains to you the hard yakka behind what any of that actually means. So that's what I'm going into today. Get your pen and paper ready. Let's go. It's probably my first podcast where I don't actually want you to listen in the car or maybe listen on your walk. I'd really love you to have a pen, a paper, sit somewhere where you can just concentrate with me for the next maybe 20 minutes. It's not going to be a long one because we are doing a practice today. We are setting some intentions for the rest of 2025 And there is going to be a lot that you can take away from this process. So I've done 7-day challenges with this process. This is a process I've been doing with myself for years for manifestation. But this is something that will actually change your life. If you commit to doing this maybe at the beginning of the year, mid-year, you can even do this every quarter if you like. Something that speaks to you, you will get a lot out of this. So for a long time, I have sung the song that I don't like New Year's resolutions and I don't like setting goals. What I like is setting intentions. Intentions are like an instruction to the universe. They're not wishes. They're not manifesting and throwing a wish out into the air and putting it on your pillow and forgetting about it and never looking at it again. Setting intentions gives our focus, our energy towards something that we really want to create. So whether that be at work, in your relationship, with your health, with your spirituality, with your family, whatever comes up for you. But sitting and creating some real soul-led and aligned intentions are what will create a life that you desire. Now, if you are moving through life without knowing what you want, that's perfectly fine, right? We can just work with, I want to know what I want. But the important thing here is that you are not just continuing in your hypnotic program, in your responsibilities, in your everyday actions, getting up, going to bed, doing it again every day, over and over again, and going, why the fuck is my life not changing? Why have I not created anything? Why have I not started that job? Why am I still in this marriage? Why haven't I asked my partner where we're going? Whatever that is for you, we need to set intentions. And I get a lot of the time setting intentions is scary. Because when we set intentions, we're saying to the universe, this is actually what I want. And if there's a part of your body that doesn't feel safe saying that, if there's a part of your body that feels like, I can't say it out loud because I'm not going to get it. I can't say it out loud because I don't have enough money. I can't say it out loud because what if my partner leaves me? If there's any part of your body that is in fear or doesn't believe that you can have what you're wanting, okay, we are going to stay stuck in this loop of, I don't know what I want, I don't know where I'm going. And oh my God, let me tell you, I was like this for years. There was a time in my life, I remember one of my best friends at the end of every year, we would have dinner and she'd go around the room like, she'd say, what did you do this year that you're proud of, and what do you want to create this year? What do you want to, it was like one of those. And I would always try and go last because I could feel the anxiety rising up in my body and I could feel the tears coming, and I was like, I don't know what I did and I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I want. And that would loop. I reckon that looped on me for about 3 years. I could look back and say there's plenty of reasons why. And I've spoken about this on the podcast. I knew that I really needed to commit to spending some time. I was very unhappy. I didn't know what I wanted in my career. I was so out of alignment. I was doing things that I thought would make me happy that weren't, and I just couldn't actually, with an honest lens, look at my life. So instead of going, what do I actually want? It was easier for me to get stuck in that overwhelm, that anxiety loop, and not look at that, because I was too scared to look at that in case I had some big answers that I didn't want to face at that time. So I can look back at that now and understand and hold so much compassion for that girl that was in that loop. But now I can also tell you that I have spent, that would have been, how many years ago? That would have been at least a 10 to 15 year ago process that happened to me. And I've spent the last decade refining this process, working on this process, teaching it to my clients, teaching it to anyone that will listen on the internet, because I know how much this works. So stick with me, because when you come at the end of this podcast to something that maybe you've given yourself permission to think about that you hadn't thought about before, I want you to hold space for yourself. Now, while I'm saying this, you don't have to shout your intentions for the rooftop. And I think a lot of people, when they go into what do I want, they feel like they have to tell everyone. This can be your own personal piece of the puzzle. One, yes, if you can really claim it and claim that energy and go out there and do it. But if you are just really starting to open up the Pandora's box, if you're really starting to just be gentle with yourself in this process, write it Be really honest, at least with yourself, before you go and tell anyone else, so that you can start getting used to the idea and the feelings of moving through and creating. At the end of the day, what we're doing is creating a life that makes us happy. We're creating a life that lights us up and that brings us joy every day. So be gentle with yourself in this process. So as I said, intentions are like the instructions to the universe of what you are wanting to create. And I want you to think about it like that, because when we start writing our instruction book of what we want to create, we can start then sending our energy towards that. And we've all heard it before. Energy flows where focus goes, or energy flows where your attention goes. And the hardest thing about this is the reason that most people don't follow through is because they don't feel aligned or safe. They don't feel safe wanting the things they want. The things that they think they want are what their parents want, or what their friends want, or what their partners want. So when we focus on our energy flowing towards the things we do want, we must start to learn how to get into alignment with our own personal essence, our own personal authenticity, because that is where the soul is wanting to create from. We will push and push and push for more money, for more career, for being seen from our ego when it is not aligned with who we want. It will feel pushy. It will feel goal-orientated. You will get burnt out. It will feel like head down, ass up, overwhelmed. And that's not the feeling we're trying to create here. We're trying to create a beautiful flow, feeling of safety. Because as we know with the nervous system, if we don't feel safe, you are going to self-sabotage, second guess, put up roadblocks to getting to what you want. So I'm going to talk about how to understand when we don't feel safe, or how to notice the signs when we don't feel safe. So just as where our attention goes when we're creating intentions, that's where the focus goes. So if you are focusing on what you don't have, if you are focusing on lack, if you're focusing on anything that says there is a missing piece to the puzzle, that is what will keep manifesting for you, right? Over and over again. So to get into alignment with what we do want, we need to set the intention. Now, it's very, very normal for us to go, okay, I want to go on a ski holiday in Japan next year. That's my intention. And then we go work through the why a bit later. But what the brain will then do is, you don't have the money. How are you going to do that? What about the ski gear? Who are you going to go with? You're a single mum. No one wants to travel with a single mum. All the reasons why you can't go completely crop up. So what does the energy of your body go? Lack. I can't do that because of X, Y, and Z. So being in the energy and rehearsing every day what you want creates and empowers you to continue working towards that. But if we just write it down, we write our goals and our wishes down and put it away, the energy will focus on the lack of. And what happens? Energy flows where focus goes. It will create more lack and more reasons why you can't, which is why this process is so powerful, because willpower on its own doesn't work if your belief systems, if your nervous system aren't aligned. You can push your way through it. You can head down, ass up your whole way through it. But if you don't believe you can have it, if you don't convince your nervous system that it's safe to have it, you will continue in the self-sabotaging loop over and over again. Now, there are so many studies on this, that your energy is the seed, planting the seeds for what you want to create and what you want to desire, right? But the trick is, how do we keep the focus on planting those seeds and not on the fact that we don't have it yet? How do we keep the focus and the brain looking for evidence that we can have what we want? You can meditate, you can do neural pathway rewiring. There's so many things that we can do. And yes, all of that helps. But honestly, the first thing is making a commitment to finding something that works for you. Now, I know even with my clients, this is why we meditate, and I really encourage the meditation every day. This is why I have neural pathway rewiring meditations. This is why we write every day what we're intending, because what we happen, as I said, is the more you can reinforce what you're wanting, the less the lack is going to creep in and remind you why you don't have it. And the more evidence the universe is going to show you as to why you can. Okay, so the first step to all this is understanding also the soul alignment versus the ego alignment. Okay, so the soul alignment feels peaceful, it feels honest, it feels truth. The ego feels pressure. It feels like you have to perform, you have to be perfect, you have to prove something to someone, you have to justify your actions. Okay, so they're the two, soul alignment versus ego alignment. And what we are trying to do, first of all, is commit to soul aligned intentions, right? So the first question I want you to ask yourself when you're thinking about your intentions is this what I want, or is this what I think I should want? That is the first question. So now I'm going to take you through a bit of the process, but you can do this in any area of your life, whether it's all areas. I like to do it in all. Relationship. How do I want to feel? What do I want? Do I want to be in relationship? How is my current relationship? Let's take stock. Your health. It can be on finances, on business, on career, whatever is coming up for you at the moment, and just know that your brain's going to go to the one that it knows already what it wants. So the one that comes easy is not the one that I want you to focus on. Maybe pick one or two different areas of your life and let's work on that. But pick them and commit to working through this with me. So the first step is getting really clear on what you want to feel and experience. Give yourself permission to actually say yes to what you are desiring. And as I said in the beginning of this podcast, giving yourself permission to have clarity is the first step. What do I actually want? Now, I'm going to work through this with the Japan process. We're going to have taking my kids skiing next year. Because, you know, if you had have said this to me 12 months ago, maybe even 18 months ago, maybe even 6 months ago, my brain would have gone to all lengths to say, don't claim that. I'm not going to get there. That is ridiculous. So I wouldn't even be able to say that out loud or to myself, because that thought alone of taking my kids skiing would be too scary. That'd be like pressure for the money, pressure for doing it on my own, pressure for work. So I wouldn't even allow myself to dream. So the first step is give yourself permission to get clarity on what it is that you actually do want to feel and experience. That's number one. The second step is belief. Do a scan on yourself, just like I did before. What old stories contradict this? Why are all the reasons you feel you can't have that? Write it down. Is it that, you know, someone told you that you can't do that alone? Is it because you don't have enough money? Is it because work's not going to give you time off? Is it because someone told you it was a ridiculous idea? Whatever it is, do a belief scan on your body. What are the stories that contradict you having the experience that you really, really desire? Okay, number 3 is really, really important. I want you to write down why you actually want this. And I want you to align it with your authenticity. So why I actually want to take my kids skiing is because one of my biggest authentic pillars is connection. And I feel when we're creating memories as a family, we create strong, beautiful connections with each other. Family is really important to me. It's really important that I say yes to things that my soul desires, that sort of reward how hard I've worked. You can really go into your why. Why do you want to create that? Why do you want to be healthier? Why do you want to have a connected relationship? Why do you want to take your kids on a holiday? What would it mean to you? Go into the why. The next step is a beautiful scan of your nervous system safety. Okay, so we've gone into the why the stories that contradict you having it, and now we've gone into the why of you wanting it and making that soul aligned. But your nervous system is going to decide whether you stick to your story or whether you default down to your I can't list. So what would make me feel calm and safe to make these changes, right? What is going to feel safe in my body? And when we start talking about the nervous system is the idea of committing to understanding the feelings of your body, committing to understanding that we must feel what's going on inside our body so that we can know whether we're leaning on the why we can't or why we can. So for example, for me, if that bill comes in and you feel the anxiety because it's a big bill and you're saving to go on this trip and you know that it's not going to help going towards, or maybe you've overspent on a night out or whatever, you don't just hide it under the carpet. You don't tuck it away. You see yourself and meet yourself where you're at. So this is how we start working with the nervous system to feel safe. I feel that anxiety come. This could look like this. Oh, I feel that anxiety coming in. Okay, can I meet this bill now and be really grateful for the bill, because maybe it's a synergy bill or an energy bill and you've been able to keep your family warm because it's been freezing. Maybe the night that you went out, you were celebrating with your sister because she had some incredible news to share. Meet yourself in the anxiety and reframe it to something that's positive, that can feel gratitude, rather than shaming yourself and judging yourself. Because a lot of what happens is when we feel gratitude, it is a lot easier to either make a different decision next time, rather than if we shame ourselves and we bring our energy down, we are just going to perpetuate that downward. Remember, focusing on what we can't have rather than being grateful for what we can. So this is not about punishment. This is about compassion. So the nervous system safety work is really, really deep work, but this is how we start doing it, just to set our intentions. Anytime you feel doubt, anxiety, comparison syndrome, meet yourself where you're at and actually feel it and reframe what's going on. So after we do the nervous system safety check, we do a bit of an energy audit. And like I said before, what are your actions? Are your actions leaning towards what you're trying to create, or are they leaning against it? For example, if you are having a coffee every single day and you're like, you know what, I could give or take my coffee. Are you leaking your energy by buying it anyway? Or are you making a commitment to do things that are in alignment with only things that are making you feel good? So where is your energy leaking? Where is your energy from your intention? If that's to create a really connected, beautiful relationship with your partner, are you nitpicking? Are you coming home when you say you are? Are you leaking energy on Instagram talking to other people, right? Are your actions in alignment with what you are trying to create? Where is your energy leaking? Really, really important that we get radically honest with ourselves so that we can start understanding what our energy is saying about us. Because if you're wanting a connected relationship, but you're not being the connection, right? You can't actually create that. If I'm wanting to take my kids on a ski holiday, but I am not being in the energy of this is my goal and I'm meeting my finances every day and I'm looking where my money is going and I'm, this isn't about sacrifice, but is buying that top in alignment with me? Is that making me feel that good, or do I really actually need it? Or can I put that energy towards the bigger picture of what I'm trying to create? So really important to have a look at where your energy is leaking when it's not in alignment with what you're trying to create. And which moves us on to the next step, which is alignment actions, right? What are now small steps that you can take that are in alignment with what you're trying to create? Okay, so what are the small steps that you can take if it's your health? Can you get up 30 minutes earlier than what you're doing now and tell your body, your energy, that you are worth it because you're going to get up 30 minutes to maybe meditate? Maybe you're getting 30 minutes to have a walk in the morning, right? What alignment actions can you take towards your big goal? Because this isn't about throwing our intentions to the universe and saying, come on, bring it to me. This is like law of attraction. Law of attraction rewards action. And action that's in alignment with what you are trying to create. Are you showing up as the person that is creating the desire that you're asking for? Get really, really honest with yourself. What alignment actions are you taking? The next part is in the integration, okay? Because commitment and consistency create the incredible life that you are desiring. What are you committing to every single day? Are you committing to a life that is anchored in your old self? Or are you committing to a life that is being the person you are trying to become, being the experiences that you are trying to create? Get really honest with yourself, because I can tell you all this information, But you either need to keep it as knowledge or you need to integrate it as wisdom and actually embody it, commit to it every day. I mean, what is that life that you're desiring? What is it worth to you? What is it costing you now that you're not creating it? Is it costing you your freedom? Is it costing you the life, the relationship, the travel? What is it costing you, right? What do your desires mean to you, and can you anchor into that person that you're trying to become every single day? Now, there are a lot of ways that you can test through your seven or eight step process into getting what you want. And you can keep check on that every single day. The best way to get really honest with yourself and observe, I like to look at it as having a look at my triggers. What is triggering me? Because that is when we're out of alignment. What do I judge? Because that is when we're out of alignment. How did I show up today? Taking stock of your day at the end of the day. Did I show up in alignment, or did I show up in judgment? Did I show up in my scarcity, in my lack, in the I can'ts, in the I should and shouldn'ts? How do you show up every single day? And you can do this at the end of the day by journaling. Even at the end of the week, if you struggle to pick up a pen every day and do this, just maybe once a week on a Sunday, sit and go, give yourself a little test, a little score. How did I do? Did I show up this week within? Where can I improve? Am I on track? Do I need to pivot? Have my wants and needs changed? Get really radically honest with yourself about how you are showing up every single day. And this is how we get to start shining a light on our life. We get to take back the control of where we're going so that we're not just reactive in the wind, and I think that's exactly what happens is when we don't have any intention, we're really reactive to the way that life is showing up around us. We have to react to the thing that's happened or the person that's come in or the thing that the boss says. Right? When we're intentional, we get to decide which way our life is moving rather than, do I like this or do I not like this? It's like, no, is this in alignment with what I'm creating or is it not? I have so many ways that I can support you in this. So many ways. I have a 7-day challenge that I run probably every couple of months. I have a process work. I have a 21-day detox and set intention that actually goes really deep into how to detox what's no longer serving you so that you can set intentions, because sometimes our patterns, our thoughts, our behaviors are so deeply ingrained that we can't even see them. Make this out over a 21-day process, and when we introduce meditation and when we introduce detoxing, decluttering and getting rid of what's no longer serving us, the energy gets to be spacious and you get to see it with open eyes and clarity like you haven't done before. So if that interests you, I'll put some links down in the show notes below this, or just DM me on Instagram. If you're on my newsletter, just reply to that. There's so many ways you can contact me for support and so many ways that I can help you move through this. But I really think that this framework of setting your intentions is so integral when it comes to actually creating the life you desire. It might just take you giving yourself permission to have a look at what you actually want. So with that being said, I hope you've taken a lot from this podcast process. Get your pen and paper out, save it, do it again at the end of the year, wherever you want. Maybe you can even do this monthly. I think the more that you can give focused attention to your desires, the more chance you can step into the abundance and the freedom that I know really everyone desires. It might look different for everyone, abundance and freedom, but everyone really deserves it and they really desire it. So you know where to find me. Share this if this helps you, or if this can help anyone that you know might be stuck, might be in a rut, and might need a little kick in the ass. You know how I love to kick people in the ass, but let me know if I can help. And as they say, like, share, subscribe, support. I'm really loving this podcast at the moment. So the more people I can get into the ears of, the better. I'll see you next week.